I know the leagues. I know the teams. I know these players. I know this wonderful game called football.
Welcome to the Moneyline, presented by Pro Football Debate and sponsored by Bet Openly, the official sportsbook of the Moneyline. After 3 weeks so far, we're at a winning percentage of 64%, so off to a good start with the free plays we have given out. Week 4 is here, so it's time to get into things, look at the board, look at some stats, some data, some trends, and then I'll leave you guys with some more plays that hopefully we can keep the train going. So Drake's, I'm good if you're good. You want to get right into things?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, first game, we're going to London here. Jacksonville second home, -3 versus the Falcons, money line $1.65 and a total of 43. Where are we at with that? I think we were aligned earlier when we talked. Tell everybody where we're at.
Yeah, I think on Jacksonville, haven't looked great so far this season, but I think international games, favorites 25-14 ATS. Jacksonville, I think, is the better team. We saw last week Atlanta's inability to pass the football from Ritter, and it paid for them late. They only scored 6 points, didn't reach the end zone. So Jacksonville, I think, needs to bounce back. Bad loss last week against Houston, lost 2 weeks ago against Kansas City. So they're in a spot either in a must-win or can't-lose situation. So I'll be laying the points with Jacksonville -3 in this international affair.
Yeah, a lot of money coming in on Jacksonville, but I'm comfortable siding with the public there. Next game that we have Bills versus the Dolphins. Buffalo -3, -150 on the money line, and a total of 54. I think we're in agreement. Probably going to go against the grain a little bit here, but where are you at?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take Buffalo -2.5 if you can find it. I'm okay laying the 3 as well. It feels contrarian. You know, the Dolphins just put up 70 points on the Broncos. They've been humming all year. No reason to think that they don't. However, Buffalo seemingly has caught fire offensively, albeit they played some weak defensive teams. But I think Buffalo has figured some things out, and they're the team that people thought they were going to be going into the season. I originally, when the season started, I'm on a fade Buffalo type mentality, and I'm buying into them this week against Miami.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot for Buffalo as well. So I'm with you there. Next game that we have is Vikings versus the Panthers. Vikings a 4.5-point favorite, 220 on the money line, so a pretty heavy favorite there, and a total of 45.5.
Yeah, I saw something where when both teams are winless, the dog is like 64% ATS. This is a game I don't really want to touch. I would probably lay the points with Minnesota if I had to. However, they're on just an awful ATS streak, 1-8 over the last 8 games. The last time they covered was against the Bears in Week 18, which isn't saying much. They're just a team that, like, you think offensively they have to figure it out, but offense hasn't been a problem. They rank 31st in defense, and you didn't think they could be worse defensively, but here they are. And then you have the revenge factor for Thielen. He's been an incredible target for Bryce Young and Andy Dalton last week. He'll probably have 5, 6, 7 catches again this week. Probably going to play him anytime TD for the revenge factor, but I have to lay the points if I had to pick a side, but probably a game that I'll stay away.
Yeah, probably a game that I'm going to stay away from as well. I don't know how Minnesota addresses the turnovers. It's like a personnel thing. It's not. I don't know if that's like the coachable thing or if that's just a mentality of how their players are operating right now, just being careless or just not focused enough. So I don't know how they fix that, and I'm not going to kind of go up against 2 kind of bad teams here. So well, I guess I'll segue into the next one. Just perfect. We got the Broncos versus the Bears. Broncos 3.5, so you got the hook there. -$1.80 on the money line, a total of 46. And before we get further, I found this actually kind of comical. 70% of the bets and 87% of the handle is on the Broncos minus the 3.5. So the public is actually hammering a team that just gave up a 70 spot rather than backing the Chicago Bears. That's incredible.
It's insane. This is a game I'm definitely staying away from. Maybe play the over. I think the Bears are on a pretty good over streak. But yeah, I can't take a side either way. I think no matter which side I play, the opposite would happen, and it would just leave me pissed off for the rest of the day. So going to avoid laying the points to the Broncos, and I obviously can't take the points with the Chicago Bears team right now.
Okay, so take the hook out. If you could buy that at 3 or even buy down, still even something considerable, or is it just we're not even gonna touch with a 10-foot pole?
No, the Denver defense has been so bad. Like this is a spot that Justin Fields can get right. Maybe DJ Moore catches a long touchdown pass. I don't know. I can't see
it's
either
actually
side.
right, and that's where I'm at. Like I have no interest in the game as far as a betting standpoint, but I'm actually extremely intrigued because both teams need to get going. So you're kind of wondering what the mentality is for both those squads going into it. I think they know positions that they're in. It's not secret. So I'm actually kind of curious. I am looking forward to it in a weird way. But yeah, you're not going to see any plays. Just not worth it. Ravens versus the
a good stat here.
On,
Chicago 22-47 1 ATS since 2019, which is the worst in the NFL.
Yeah, stay hot. All right, we got Browns -2.5 versus Baltimore. Browns favorite on the money line, $1.45 and a total of 40. So we got a low total and we have a spread under 3. I think we're both on the same page there. What that means and what the trends kind of, or I should say, the data suggests.
Yeah, I think I lean the Browns here. Just better team right now. That defense is insane. Highly impressive the first couple weeks of the season. There are some trends that definitely favor Harbaugh in this spot. So, and Lamar Jackson for that matter. Lamar is 84.6% ATS as an underdog, which is the highest in the last 20 years. John Harbaugh also just a beast as an underdog. So something to consider. But again, that defense has been highly impressive. Just shutting everybody down that they faced. So yeah, I think I would lay the points with Cleveland, but you can make a case if you can get a 3.5 out there for Baltimore. I'm not opposed to that either.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, again, we always say like fairy tales you see fit. I think you can find data either spot, but I do like the Browns, and I think I'm not going to get into specifics here, but I know we talked. It was like last couple of years that the Browns statistically have done well against the spread versus Baltimore, which the Browns have struggled while Baltimore has had some pretty decent teams. So again, kind of something to keep in the back of your head. But I'm with you there. We're going Brownies. Next game, we got a lot of low spreads this week. Steelers -2.5 versus the Texans. Steelers -$1.45 on the money line, and then we have a total of 42.5.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I'm probably going to stay away from this one.
But
Steelers,
that 2.5 number and Tomlin, it's tempting.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's a very square play as well, which is why I'm kind of staying away from it too.
Yeah, the Steelers 10-2 ATS with TJ Watt. Without Watt, 2-4-1 ATS. Tomlin as a favorite, not as good against the spread as he is as a dog. Kenny Pickett, good numbers the last 5 or 6 games. He's covered 5 of the last 6. Whereas on the other side, I think the Texans have been decent offensively. Stroud's looked pretty good. He's looked like the best rookie quarterback by far. So yeah, looking probably to watch that game a little bit more than wager on it for sure.
Yeah, kind of see him there. So I'm glad we're on the same page there. Basically almost a pick 'em. Rams versus the Colts. Rams -1. Where you at with that? I don't really have a read on either team. You got I really got nothing. I mean yeah, the money lines for a coin flip, you maybe just better off taking that. You have -115 for the Rams, still get -$1.05 with the Colts, and then you got total 47. But I just don't see anything there. I don't know.
Sure.
Cup. I know we talked. I think it was earlier this week about we don't know Cup situation. I think I saw week 5. He's getting a little more workload, but nothing definite,
Okay.
and they're not expecting him back for another week or two. So without that, nothing there excites me.
No, same. I can't back either team. Stafford back in the dome, so who knows what that's going to do. But yeah, I just can't back either team.
All right. So next game we got is the Bucks versus the Saints here. Saints laying the 3.5 -$1.80 on the money line and a total of 40.5.
Yeah, their defense has been good. Jameis Winston's probably going to start for the Saints. So there's a revenge factor there for him. Both quarterbacks, not great ATS in their career. A spot that, yeah, divisional game, probably lean taking the dog with the points, but I'm probably going to stay away. Like there's no point to force anything here.
Okay, I'll take a side then. We've kind of leaned off a couple of the games, but I'll pick the side here. Give me a divisional game at 3.5 with the hook. I'll take Baker to bounce back and at least keep it close.
Okay.
Next game. Yep. Next game up, we got Commanders and Philly. Philly laying the 8 at home. Huge money line favorite, minus 400, a total of 43.5. Washington offense showed absolutely, literally nothing last week. Philly, I don't think they're the Philly of last year, but they're still a good team. Where you at? Anything stick out?
Yep. Probably going to take the divisional dog here with the points. The Commanders, I think, covered both games last year against the spread against Philly. I know that was Heineke and not Sam Howell. Howell hasn't been great. Well, I shouldn't say that. He's been okay. Not really his fault. He's been sacked, I think, almost 20 times this season through 3 games, which is absolutely crazy. And we saw the Philly defense, that front line, Jalen Carter, highly impressive out of Georgia. So, yeah, I think Philly defense can get to them, but they'll find a way to keep it competitive. Ron Rivera just has that tendency to do so in games that he shouldn't be expected to compete in. He finds a way. So I'll take the divisional dog plus 8.5.
Yeah, it's a big number division game. Definitely with you there. At least keep it close. Cincy minus 2.5 against the Titans, plus 2.5. Obviously, they're minus 145 on the money line and a total of 40.5.
Yeah. Do you feel like going through these games, just like the more we talk about them, the more that these teams absolutely stink right now? Like
Yeah,
Tennessee, Cincinnati, I don't. Go ahead.
No, that's exactly. I mean, Tennessee, Cincinnati, last 3 years, you wouldn't have said their offenses are struggling bad, like down bad.
Mhm.
It's just kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Like I said, a lot of the spreads are 2.5 to 3.5. I mean, I think in the late window we see a couple open up and we like get north of 5, but it's kind of an ugly board this week.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one to kind of pick a side on. So far, the Bengals 0-2-1 ATS this season, or they do. If I had to pick a side, I'm laying the 2.5 with Cincinnati probably.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you could play the Vrabel, the 3.5 spot, but we've done this every single game so far this year. So I don't know. I don't know where to even start with that.
Yeah.
Probably Cincy. Just Tannehill's not it. They couldn't move the ball last week, and like I said, every time they got on field goal range and he had pressure, he just basically sacked himself off field goal range anyway. So I'll take Burrow to eventually find some magic of that, eventually, right? All right, so he has to, exactly. Next, we got Raiders plus 5 against the Chargers. Chargers at home laying. Chargers minus 245, so considerably big favorite there in a total of 48.5.
Yeah. I would probably lay the points with the Chargers. I feel like I'm being chalky this week, but Chargers have a really good offense, as we've seen the last few weeks. Defense hasn't been great. And the Vegas offense hasn't been great either. So you have strength versus weakness with the Raiders defense, and then you have weakness versus weakness with the two offense and defense. So I would lay the points with the Chargers. Interesting stat here. When Mike Williams has been out, the Chargers are 2-4 ATS the last 3 seasons. So something to maybe take into account. He's been pretty good asset for Justin Herbert, but I'm comfortable laying the 5.5 or 6 points with the Chargers.
Yeah. And here's interesting stat too. The Chargers, when they're a 5 and up point favorite, they are 10-1 to the over since October of 2020.
Wow.
So over might be a play in there. You kind of said about the matchup. So I actually probably that's my lean would be taking the over there at 48.5.
Okay.
Next game up, this should actually be a pretty good game. Going to be really telling. But the Cowboys are laying a touchdown against New England, minus 320 and a total of 43.
Yeah. A game that I'm probably going to stay away from. I'll let Dallas try to figure some things out. Not great in the red zone the last few weeks. Obviously, a very, very disappointing loss to Arizona last week. And the Patriots, 3-8 ATS their last 11 games. 2 of those 3 wins have come against the Jets, as you highlighted on our show last week. I hate to say it, but I'm probably going to have to stay away. Maybe play something live, but I just can't back either team right now.
Yeah, that Arizona game was pretty concerning for Dallas last week. San Francisco and the Cardinals here, division game. Let's see what we got. We got 14, so biggest spread of the week, massive on the money line, and a total of 44.
Yeah, I would take the divisional dog plus the points. Arizona, for some reason, just has competed in every game, and obviously beating Dallas last week. The coach has gotten the most out of his players so far to start the year. If I can get 2 touchdowns, especially with the hook, 14 and a half, I'm going to take that in the divisional game all day. Is Arizona due for a letdown after the 3 games they had to start the season? Or, is San Francisco due for a letdown after just pummeling the teams they played so far? So I'm on Arizona plus the 14 or 14 and a half. Where are you standing?
No, I mean, I know we're relying on a lot of them, so we're kind of being a dead horse here. But I mean, that big of a number, it also screams a backdoor cover somewhere in there, especially in a divisional game. That's a massive number. We're gonna play our trends and our data, and anytime we see a big number like that in a divisional game, we're obviously gonna take a second look. Kind of reminds me, not necessarily. Well, yeah, actually, divisional. There's 2 games last year, but if you remember, Commanders versus Philly. And everybody was on Philly when the Commanders were struggling. I think the spread was actually 11 too. So we're getting a whole field goal here. And Commanders had no business being in that game and ended up taking them down to the wire. So, I think we're kind of might see the same thing here. Yep. Next game up, we got Chiefs minus 9.5 over the Jets. Huge on the money line again. No shock there. Minus 440 and a total of 41.5.
Yeah, I feel like the Jets will be a contrarian play this week. I would probably lean taking the points with the Jets. That defense hopefully can hang. And another week of practice for Zach Wilson in that offense. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I have to take the points. I can't lay 10 with the Chiefs right now. The primetime game
outside
on the road.
Of the Bears.
Outside of the Bears, yeah. Primetime game on the road in New York, hostile environment. Yeah, I give me the Jets plus 10.
Yeah, same. Salah's got to get that team going. So I hope they can at least keep it close. I think they need it. And, if anything with 10 points, I'm going to back a really, really good defense there. So I'm with you. Give me the 10. Primetime Monday night. Kind of shocked at this one, but you got the Giants minus 1. Maybe a pick depending on getting if they're getting a point for, being a MetLife. I don't know. But Giants minus 1. Minus $1.50 on the money line and a total of 47.5. So one of the higher totals of the week.
Yep.
I think I lean Seattle there. Give me a point. I think they went outright. Maybe give me on the money line there at that point.
Yeah, for sure. Pete Carroll 34-18-3 ATS in his career at night. Geno Smith 7-2 ATS in 9 games at night. Daniel Jones on the other hand, he's 32-26 ATS in his career. However, he's 5-8 ATS at night, 1-12 straight up. And you can make the argument that, the Giants playing primetime games usually against superior opponents. So, record isn't necessarily a quarterback stat in this instance, but somebody said there, I'm on Seattle. It makes absolutely no sense. So I'm probably going to end up staying away, but Seattle will be my play for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So next, do you see I know we talked Survivor, RSIP a little different, but do you see a Survivor play in there? Maybe an off the wall that you would take a shot at?
I think for our format that we have to take San Francisco. If Arizona beats us, they beat us. But in other formats, traditional Survivor, maybe the Chargers are a play.
So, I mean, kind of interesting though. Would you be because we talk about like the Circa contest, and obviously we're big contest players. So we've seen how much the Circa Survivor has dropped over the last 3 weeks, almost 7,000. So it's down to 2,500. So, I mean, if you haven't taken San Francisco now, would you be worth burning them at this point, this early, just because of how dwindled the pool went?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's survive in advance. Like you can't
That's
take a
what I was
risk
hoping
on a team. Yeah. Like just move on to the next week and figure it out. Like I know the Circus Survivor is a bit different because you have to plan for Thanksgiving week and Christmas week and stuff like that. So all in all, it's a 20-week Survivor pool. But I survive in advance in that pool in particular. Like you said, you're down 2,500 people. Start with 9,000. You're 3 weeks in. Survive.
Not the time to get cute.
No, you can maybe cash. I mean, with the way things are going, you might be able to cash. Week 14, 15.
Right.
So. use our team you need to get through this week. And again, plan for whatever you need to plan for around those holiday weeks. But yeah, survive in advance.
Okay. Other than that, give me your 3 or 2 or 3, whatever you got going. I'll give you my 3, and then we'll pretty much wrap it up and reconvene next week.
Why don't you bat lead off here?
All right. Yeah. Okay. So I got Jacksonville minus the 3, and we talked about that earlier. London game, so that's basically the second home for the Jags. Heavy public money on that again, but I'm okay laying the 3 and siding with the public. And again, we kind of just talked about Jacksonville finding its groove and closing out Atlanta. Yeah. I like the under 41 in the Browns and Ravens game. It's divisional. Okay. I'm just going to write out Cleveland defense. They're just absolutely playing like juggernauts right now, so we're going to go that way. And then you brought this one up, and I think this is going to be a little bit of, I don't want to say a hot take, but with such terrible offenses, I'm going to over 46 in Denver and Chicago. So obviously the 2 offenses are anemic, but I expect turnovers equal points. I did see some sharp money on the over as well, so that may feel a little good there. But both teams need the yards and kind of open up the playbook once they do get into territory, so I'm going to back that. And interesting, I found here where, again, I don't know if people just think that game's going to be an absolute snooze fest, but I found the under at even money on betopenly.com. So you can obviously check that out and save a little bit of money there. So I did find that. And if you want to fade me, the opportunity is there to make a little more money on it.
Nice. My 3 plays, I'm going to take the Bills minus 2.5 at home against the Dolphins. Again, some would argue that line makes no sense based on how Miami's played so far this year, but give me the crazy fans in Buffalo and the home team. I'm going to take the Cardinals plus 14.5 against San Francisco. And then my last pick is going to be the Jets as a home dog plus 10 against Kansas City on Sunday night.
Love it. So like I said, we'll reconvene next week. Other than that, you got anything else, or are we good?
We're good. No, have a good week, and we'll chat soon.
Yep. See you, bud.
Later.